Hi everyone, welcome to your week 3 video. So to stay in theme with this week's topic, I'm actually using PowerPoint as well as some of the new features that you saw in the video to create my presentation. Typically I use Google Slides, and that's really just because I'm kind of addicted to a lot of Google-based things. So last week you learned about the differences between synchronous and asynchronous tools and thoroughly investigated one tool. So I really encourage you to look at the evaluations completed by your peers to learn more about the tools that they evaluated. And if you actually want to save the evaluations for future reference, in case you think you might need to use them or want to use them, you can download the Google Doc as a PDF or a Word doc by going to File, Download As, and then choosing whichever one you want. Alternately, you can make a copy of the Google Doc by going to File, Make a Copy, and then the copy will be added to your Google Drive. So this week you're going to be digging into Microsoft Productivity Tools, which is probably a suite of tools that you're familiar with. So before we start digging into what you're going to be doing this week, here's your week 3 checklist. If you're watching this video right now, you should have already watched the Microsoft Office video. If you haven't, please just pause this video right now and watch it. It's almost 18 minutes long and a little slow at times, so I recommend using that settings wheel to speed up the rate of narration. You'll notice that we don't have any discussion this week, and that's really because there's 4 parts to MTA number 2, and I want you to focus your time on that this week. So our Microsoft Office suite includes a lot of tools that you're probably familiar with, such as Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. You're going to complete an activity with each of these tools this week, and you'll also complete an activity with something called Microsoft Forms. And there are some additional Microsoft Office Suite tools such as Sway, Teams, To Do, OneNote, and you'll get to choose a few of those to explore during week 5. So let's look at MTA number 2, Microsoft Productivity Tool instructions. So you're going to remember that when MTAs are due, they're going to be due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. So MTA number 2 is due on Sunday, February 3rd by 11:59 p.m. And I just wanted to make sure that you realize that this is Super Bowl Sunday. So if you're planning on watching the Super Bowl or getting together with others to watch it, please make sure just to do your work before the Super Bowl, right? So the Super Bowl starts at 5:30. MTA number 2 is due at 11:59 p.m. I would just make sure to get in there and do that ahead of time. So if you have a PC or a Mac, you can just download Microsoft Office for free from the OSU Software Distribution Center, and you can use the hyperlink in the assignment instructions to access the Software Distribution Center. Alternately, you can work with Microsoft Office 365 online by accessing your Cowboy Mail, and then you click on Apps in the top left corner. There's like a block of 9 squares, and then you can just choose the appropriate app. So if you work on a Chromebook, you're going to probably mostly be using Microsoft Office 365 online. For part 1, which is the Excel assignment, you'll just end up downloading the template from Brightspace and then uploading and opening it in the online version of Excel. And when you're finished, you probably have experience with this already, but you'll download the document and then upload it in the Brightspace Dropbox. For part 3, though, if you're on a Chromebook, which is the PowerPoint assignment, you're actually going to need to access a PC or a Mac that has Office to complete the narration or the audio narration portion of part 3. So just be aware that if you do have a Chromebook, and I know that's several people in here, you're going to need to get to a computer that has, or a PC or a Mac that has Office on it. All right, so I'm going to quickly walk you through just each of the parts. Part 1 is the Excel budget. And you'll download the file or the Excel file from Brightspace, which is attached just like the assignment instructions are. And then you'll use the instructions inside the file to complete the Spring Break 2019 budget. So here's what it looks like when you open it. So it has the instructions there, the budget stuff. And in this assignment, you're going to really learn how to use formulas as well as cell references in Excel. And some of you may know how to do this already, so this will be pretty easy for you. So I have some tutorials here that you can use, and then you'll name the file using the instructions on how to name it before you attach it in Brightspace. All right, so part 2 is the Microsoft Word assignment, and it has you formatting a Word document in APA format. While you practice some of the trickier aspects of Microsoft Word, or more realistically, they're just some of the most commonly misused or even neglected aspects of Microsoft Word. So you'll be expected to create a title page, a header with page numbers, and a different first page, which is an APA thing. It used to be an MLA thing, but they changed that a while back. So you're going to also have text that's properly double-spaced, one page of text after the title page, a reference page after the page of text, and then at least one reference that's properly used as a hanging indent. So the page of text can really just be anything that you want. I'm not really looking at the text. I'm just trying to see if it's properly double-spaced. And the reference can also be anything that you want. But you can also use the reference that I just added into the instructions. So with the references, I'm not looking to see that you properly used APA format for the actual reference, just that you've properly formatted the hanging indent. So when you click on the APA guidelines that I have in the instructions, there are two places that you'll really go to for help with your requirements. So first is the general format page of the APA guidelines. And this is kind of what's in that page. And you'll need to review the instructions for the title page and the running head, which has a different first page header. And you'll also want to look at the reference list basic rules section. However, you'll only really need the first bullet under basic rules, which is about the hanging indent. So finally, I really suggest that you use the sample paper link, because it'll really give you a better understanding of what everything should look like, and it'll kind of walk you through some of the things that you need to do. Okay, so I've also included some Microsoft tutorials for your reference, but I'll give you two major hints. First, double-spaced lines are not properly double-spaced if you hit enter or return at the end of each line twice. Okay, so that's a huge hint. So if that's what you do, use the tutorial there. And then secondly, a properly formatted hanging indent in the references section does not consist of hitting enter or return at the end of a line and then pushing tab to create an indented second line of the reference. And I'll tell you, I took a computer class, I think when I was in high school, and that's how they taught me to do it. So I actually didn't know how to properly do a hanging indent until like 4 or 5 years ago. So you'll name the file using the naming conventions listed in the instructions. And I encourage you to play with some of the new learning tools that you saw in the video, such as changing a document's color, changing the text spacing, and or splitting up the words into syllables. I'm not requiring that though, just in case someone is using an older version of Office. Okay. Part 3 is the PowerPoint assignment, and for this activity, you're going to create a PowerPoint that teaches someone how to do something. It should be at least 5 slides long, but no longer than 10 slides. Additionally, it should include audio narration and follow the good PowerPoint presentation hints. So you'll need to use PowerPoint on a PC or a Mac to be able to record the narration. The online version of PowerPoint doesn't have the audio narration capabilities yet, and I don't know if they ever will. So if you need assistance finding a computer for this portion of the assignment, just let me know. So when you record your narration, make sure that you're not just reading off your slides, and you're going to name the file using the naming conventions and the instructions. And again, I encourage you to use some of the new PowerPoint features that you saw, such as the 3D models that are animated. I would encourage using the Zoom tool, which I've actually used here in this presentation. I'm not sure if you've noticed. But when I tried first recording this presentation using the narration tool that you guys are going to be using for your assignment, I found out that you can't use the narration tool in conjunction with the Zoom slide. Like the Zoom slide just won't work at all, which is the major bummer. So again, I'm not requiring that you use any of the new features, just in case someone is using an older version of Office. Okay, so finally, part 4 is the Forms assignment. Microsoft Forms is a newer Microsoft application, and it's been around for about a year. So if you've ever used Google Forms, and actually all of you have because your student information form was a Google form, so you've at least submitted one. Anyway, Microsoft Forms is pretty similar. So your form can be about whatever you want. It just needs to have a title, at least 7 questions. Use each of the 7 question types at least once. Use the text question type as the first question, and it asks for your respondent's name, kind of like what was in the student information form. Use an image or video as an aid for one of the questions, and changes the theme from the automatic green to a different, theme. So here's what forms looks like. So after you click on that link in the instructions, this is what it looks like when you bring it up. And so after you log in, you'll kind of just create a new form, and then you're going to change the title of your form. And when you click on add question there, it'll actually expand to show you all the question types. And then finally, you're going to use the theme button in the top kind of right corner area to change your theme, and the share button when you're done. So instead of downloading and submitting a file, you're going to need to obtain a link to the form, and you're going to add it to the comment section of Brightspace Dropbox using the naming conventions listed in the instructions, and I'll walk you through that in just a second. All right, so when you're done with all 4 parts of MTA number 2, you're going to submit 3 documents and add a hyperlink to the comment section in the Dropbox of Brightspace for your form. So the directions of how to hyperlink are in the assignment instructions, but I've also listed them here, and here's a quick clip of exactly what you're going to do. So you're going to type it in, so your last name, MTA2, and then part 4, and then you're going to highlight it. And you're going to click on the insert quick link, and you'll choose URL, paste your link in, and I'm just kind of going back to show you it is from forms there. And then you'll just click insert, and if you notice it's blue, and that's basically underlined, and now it's a hyperlink. So if you've made it this far, all you have left to do for this week is MTA2, and you have a lot of parts, so you're not going to have discussion. But if you have any questions or need assistance, please just get in touch with me. And remember that Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday, so just to plan accordingly. I plan to watch the Super Bowl, and we'll be checking my email, but I'm not going to have access to my computer until after the Super Bowl. So if you have last minute questions, I'll be able to get on my email, but please just try to get this done ahead of time if you are watching the Super Bowl or anticipate any problems. So I think that's all for now. Happy working this week, and let me know if you need anything.